Welcome in CBS Sports HQ basketball analyst Matt Norlander, co-host of the Iron College Basketball Podcast. Your reaction here, Indiana with the upset over number 1 ranked Purdue.
Season-affirming win for the Hoosiers, who will still have to go on the road and play at Mackey Arena later this season big time. Indiana's the story here. Purdue losing is not all that surprising. Heated rivalry going into that building. I was in both of those. I was at Assembly Hall last week in addition to Mackey Arena. Indiana fans were ready for this one. And I tell you what, Trayce Jackson-Davis, first-team All-American, okay? Huge. Every single one of his blocks were outstanding in this one. But Jalen Hood-Schifino is a dude. Freshman, he's going to be a first-round pick. He came up huge. Jackson-Davis is Indiana's best player. But what you saw today in this game is what Indiana will need in order to be a factor down the stretch in the Big Ten and for Indiana to make a run in the tournament. It's got to be Hood-Schifino right there as Jackson-Davis's wingman. Those two by far the biggest factors. Galloway off the bench went for 11, but this was all Trayce Jackson-Davis on both ends of the floor, and then Hood-Schifino, who went down. In the moment, we didn't know if it was a bad injury or it wasn't on a breakaway. He wound up being fine, came out of the TV timeout, hit a shot on the elbow to keep him going. Hood-Schifino's 2 buckets down the stretch really helped seal this, Hakeem, for Indiana. I don't have that much concern for Purdue. To me, this is way more about the Hoosiers. You get this kind of win on your home floor, your most anticipated game in a long time in that building. As you noted, their biggest win in many facets since 2013 against a team rated this high.
Yeah, a statement win for Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers on their home floor when you take down the number 1 ranked team in the nation. What's incredible here is the fact that Indiana played really well defensively, and they're able to somehow keep this Purdue team in check because Purdue was sloppy. 16 turnovers in this game, forced them into bad shots. But the thing that I want to talk about here is the 16 turnovers. What if you're Matt Painter, you're sitting there going, guys, this isn't us. We're not that team. We could be better than this.
Well, I sat in Matt Painter's office a week ago and talked with him about his freshman guards here. And so part of it was that. And I honestly, Matt Painter's as upfront as a coach as you'll find out there, particularly on the record. And with Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith, 2 tremendous freshman guards, the future of this program. I talked to Matt Painter specifically about this a week ago. I said, listen, there is a general curiosity about your team. Those guys, a little undersized, not ultra athletic, freshmen, like, can you depend on them in the big moments over the next 6 weeks? He believes, of course, the answer to that is yes, but he is all too aware of the fact that there will be moments, and we saw it really today with Braden Smith. He was 1 of 8 from the floor. He had a couple of moments that he certainly would want back in that second half, which, by the way, Purdue, its ability to rally in the second half. Assembly Hall was absolutely on tilt in the best way possible, with the exception of they actually did need to get warned not to throw anything on the floor so that the crowd didn't induce a technical foul against IU. By the way, flooding the floor against your hated rival, Purdue. Just saying, if Purdue beats Indiana later on this season at Mackey, the paint crew's not getting on the court. But you know what? I'm not gonna rain on this parade. If you're an IU fan, you have just been waiting for a win like this. So it's a big time get for IU to have this resume building win. It's a reaffirmation of what we've been telling you on CBS Sports HQ and what we've been talking about on the Iron College Basketball Podcast. Trayce Jackson-Davis is the first-team All-American. I will circle back to your point, though. 16 turnovers for Purdue, only 8 for Indiana. The turnovers are a concern, but Hakeem, you're in a road environment. It's to be expected. This is the first time that we have seen Purdue lose this season away from Mackey Arena. It had 10 combined road and neutral court victories to this point. It's still the best resume in the sport. Not a lot of concern here. If you really want to step back and take a huge, big picture look at the sport, if you want to look at this result and say, if Purdue really was a great team, if it had separated from the rest of the sport, it wins this game on the road, I'd buy that. So we don't have an absolute dominant great team right now. That's okay. We still have plenty of time to see if we're going to get one over the next 5 weeks before Selection Sunday.
Yeah, Purdue had been perfect on the road this season. Again, only 1 loss coming into Rutgers. So this is just their 2nd loss of the season. And look, we've always known that Assembly Hall is a tough place to play. The only team that's walked in there this season is Northwestern. And like this Indiana team and this home court advantage, they're now 12-1 on their home floor. And when you see Trayce Jackson-Davis and our guy Jackson Hood-Schifino lead, this is a team, and look, they're 3rd in the Big Ten. They're a problem. What do they present here? Because this had the feelings of sort of like even a Big Ten championship game. right? I mean, like this that had the feel like it was the lead was 15. It got down to 2. We saw the ebbs and flows. We saw the number 1 team take a hit. They come back. Like, it was an awesome game, and we're still 5 weeks away from Selection Sunday.
Yeah, for Indiana, you're absolutely right about that. The environment, you could just feel it coming off the screen there. Just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game and a wonderful atmosphere. You know, I know everyone gets so excited and eager for March, and I can't wait for March to get here, but this is why I love February, because you have league races developing, and these home environments are so incredible. I wrote last week that Zach Edey is still, you know, he's basically locked up National Player of the Year. I'm not walking off that. Edey in this game went for 33 and 18. He did have the 5 turnovers, but he's the only reason why Purdue, or he was the primary reason why Purdue was able to make that push overall. For Indiana to have Jackson Davis again just show up, he is such a reliable player. He is the guy who can really be, he can be one of those classic players that can carry his team, and it won't be just him. Again, Hood Schifino, let me repeat myself, D-U-D-E, dude. Big time performance. I mean, for him to step up like that in this moment is mega for Indiana. But Jackson Davis can be the guy to put this team on his back. And no matter what number Indiana has next to its name, once we get to Selection Sunday, I think a win like this, even though some more losses will come for IU, this team's not running the table until we get to Selection Sunday. But a win like this, you tuck it in your back pocket, and you know when you're going to go up against a big-time opponent in the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament, you're capable of beating pretty much anyone in the country there. I thought that was the biggest development here on what's been an awesome Saturday and ranked roadkill Saturday. We've had a number of, now, listen, the home teams have been ranked, but we've had a number of teams here go on the road and not be able to pull off a W because the opponents have been formidable. Not everyone. Texas was able to get a really nice win and kind of steal one at K-State to hang on to the top lead, top of the ledger there in the Big 12. But Indiana, Kansas
ranked roadkill.
Kansas went down. There's been no shortage of it, and it's no surprise, and we're not even done yet. We still got to get to Gonzaga at St. Mary's later on tonight.
What's fun about February is you're right. You see these league races develop, and you see guys emerge. Like we see Jackson Hood-Schifino, the guy you are calling the dude now, which is, look, if they make a deep run, that's what we're calling him the dude. Our dude, Jerry Palm, the bracketologist, says that this loss for Purdue isn't going to impact them as a number 1 overall seed. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with Jerry on that because the resume for Purdue at this point has been so good. Alabama's probably in the 2 spot in overall ranking. Alabama projects as a 1 seed right now, and it's a quad 1 win. It's an upper level quad 1 loss, on the road for Purdue in this spot. So coming out of the weekend, it's still going to be Purdue on the overall number 1 line. That's no surprise. And as you can see, we've had a rotation here with teams that have been losing in the number 1 spot, which isn't surprising. We get this, pretty much every year overall. But this doesn't mean that Purdue is going to drop out. It means Tennessee's going to take the number 1 spot in the rankings come Monday, by the way, because Tennessee is number 2. Now, it played a hideous game. In beating Auburn earlier on Saturday. But there's a chance that if Indiana doesn't bump up, Houston's in the 3 spot. It's still got to get out of the weekend. It's going to play Temple. It has a home loss against Temple. So we will have shakeup in the top 5 of the poll overall. But Hakeem, I would still take Purdue as the best team in the country. And its ability to rally in the second half just reinforce that. There's no shame in taking a road L against Indiana, which is a top 25 team.
Well, on this day, the best team at Assembly Hall was the home team, Indiana, pulling off the upset against the number 1 team in the nation, their first win against the number 1 team since 2013. Matt Norlander breaking down. He's with us throughout the night here on CBS Sports HQ. And look at the 2 stars in this game. I mean, Matt, this is incredible. I mean, they combined for 58 points, combined for 8 blocks. If you had told me that Trace Jackson-Davis had more blocks than Zach Edey, I said you're out of your mind. But look, I mean, the stat lines for both of the team leaders are incredible. They
are. I would have maybe believed you on that. Jackson Davis's defensive reputation continues to increase, and like 4 or 5 of those blocks, man, they were outstanding. And he made his presence known and gave Indiana fans a reason to boast. Hey, our guy could be just as good as your guy.
Best bigs in the Big Ten. Indiana taking the best team down in the nation, 79-74 at home at Assembly Hall as the Hoosiers improved to 12-1 on their home floor.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.